What if your most terrifying nightmares aren't just random fears but actual memories of how you died in a past life? Imagine this. A 4-year-old wakes up screaming, drenched in sweat, describing in vivid detail a plane crash, the flames, the cockpit controls, the name of a fellow pilot. Years later, his parents discover a World War II fighter pilot died exactly as their child described, decades before he was born. Or take Heidi, a little girl who sobbed about bricks crushing her skull in a dream, only to later exhibit unexplained phobias of heights and block structures with no trauma in her current life to explain it. These aren't ghost stories. They're documented cases studied by psychiatrists and researchers at institutions like the University of Virginia, where thousands of reports suggest some nightmares might be fragments of past life trauma bleeding into our subconscious. So tonight, when you jolt awake from that recurring nightmare you've had since childhood, ask yourself, is this just a dream? Or is it something far darker? The children who remember death, you're 4 years old. You wake up screaming, your tiny hands clutching at your chest like you're trying to unbuckle a seatbelt that isn't there. Between sobs, you describe the engine failing, the smell of burning metal, the name Jack, as the man next to you, a man your parents have never met. Years later, they find a newspaper clipping. A World War II pilot named Jack Larson died when his plane went down. Exactly as you described. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. It's the real-life case of James Leininger, one of the most meticulously documented cases of past life recall in modern psychiatry. Dr. Jim Tucker at the University of Virginia's Division of Perceptual Studies verified over 50 specific details in James' nightmares that matched the life and death of a deceased pilot. And James isn't alone. Why do some children describe deaths they couldn't possibly know about? And why do these memories vanish by age 6 or 7, as if some door in the mind slams shut? What's more chilling than a child describing their own death? When multiple children these children shared 3 traits. Birthmarks matching fatal wounds, like a boy with a jagged headscar who remembered being axe-murdered, phobias tied to their deaths, such as fear of water in drowning cases, emotional recognition, bursting into tears when shown photos of the deceased's family, the kicker. These memories fade like a dream upon waking. By age 7, most can't recall details, as if the brain purges the file. Now here's something that'll make your skin crawl. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist who spent 40 years studying over 3,000 cases of children claiming past life memories, discovered something unsettling. Nearly 35 of these children had birthmarks or birth defects that perfectly matched fatal wounds from their supposed past lives. Take the case of a young boy in Myanmar who was born with a cluster of dark, circular marks on his chest. From the moment he could speak, he described being shot by soldiers. When researchers tracked down the death records, they found a man who had been executed by firing squad, with bullet wounds in the exact same locations as the boy's birthmarks. But why would a physical mark carry over from one life to another? Some researchers suggest it's like a psychological scar that's so traumatic, it imprints itself on the developing fetus. Others point to cases where children are born with missing fingers matching amputation wounds, oddly shaped skulls corresponding to head injuries, strange pigmentation where burns would have been the most disturbing part. These birthmarks often fade as the child's memories do, almost as if the body is letting go of whatever trauma it was holding on to. The killer recognition case, memory fade. Now we come to perhaps the most disturbing case of all, one that still haunts researchers today. In Lebanon, a 3-year-old boy suddenly began having violent nightmares about being murdered with an axe. He would wake up screaming about the man with the crooked nose who killed him. When his family took him to a nearby village he'd never visited, the child immediately recognized a house he'd never seen, identified a man from the community by name, became hysterical, pointing at the man's nose and screaming, "That's him! He killed me!" Here's what makes this case bone-chilling. Historical records confirmed a man had been murdered with an axe in that house decades earlier. The accused villager did have a distinctive crooked nose. The boy was born with a deep, linear birthmark exactly where the axe struck, but then, like clockwork, at age 7, the memories began fading. By puberty, they were gone completely. This pattern holds across nearly all cases, leading researchers to suspect it's tied to brain development. Neuroscientists note that around age 7 is when the brain's prefrontal cortex matures significantly. Childhood amnesia typically erases early memories. The reality monitoring system becomes fully active. This raises an unsettling question. Are these memories being deleted, or just buried deeper? Some researchers believe they may resurface during trauma, near-death experiences, or psychedelic states. When dreams defy explanation, you're about to discover something that will change how you view every dream you've ever had. Neuroscientists at the University of Chicago made a startling discovery. About 1 to 2 of dreams contain information the dreamer couldn't possibly know. These aren't just random nightmares, they're what researchers call episodic dreams, containing precise historical details, unlearned languages, accurate layouts of unfamiliar locations. Take the case of Sarah, a 32-year-old accountant who dreamed in fluent 18th century French, a language she'd never studied. When linguists analyzed her sleep recordings, they confirmed she was using authentic archaic grammar and vocabulary. Even more disturbing, the dreams stopped after she visited Versailles and experienced intense déjà vu. But here's what really keeps scientists up at night. These dreams activate different brain regions than normal dreams. fMRI scans show the hippocampus, memory center, lights up abnormally. The temporal lobe shows activity patterns matching recall, not imagination. The default mode network behaves as if accessing lived experience. What does this mean? Your brain might be accessing something else, something that shouldn't be there. What if your brain is hiding memories from you? Stanford's Department of Psychology uncovered something unsettling. Some people under hypnosis suddenly recall skills they never learned. Like a woman who could perfectly play Chopin despite no musical training. A man who spoke fluent ancient Egyptian after a near-death experience. A child who instinctively knew how to operate World War II-era machinery, Dr. Helen Wambach's research suggests these hidden memories follow disturbing patterns. 1. Trauma triggers recall. 85% of cases emerge during extreme stress, as if the mind's firewall breaks down. 2. Body memory phenomenon. Subjects often physically react. A woman who remembered drowning coughed up water during sessions. 3. The 7-year gap. Memories typically surface around ages 7, 14, 21, etc., hinting at cyclical memory release. But here's what chills researchers. When scanned, these subjects show brain activity identical to authentic memory retrieval, not imagination. As one neuroscientist confessed, "We're seeing the impossible. The brain is accessing experiential data that shouldn't exist." The Nazi soldier case. Trauma pathways, the most disturbing case in Dr. Wambach's files? Patient 347, a 17-year-old vegetarian pacifist from Minnesota who began screaming in German during nightmares. Here's what made neurologists question reality. Unlearned expertise could disassemble/reassemble a Mauser rifle blindfolded. New 1940s. Berlin street layouts. He'd never visited. Woke with phantom pain from a shrapnel wound. No medical cause. Physical reactions. Developed a scar-like redness on his neck where he'd been shot. Blood tests showed adrenaline spikes matching combat stress. MRI revealed his amygdala reacted to World War II images like a veteran's. The smoking gun. Researchers tracked down records of a Wehrmacht soldier who died in 1945 from a neck wound. Lived on the exact Berlin street. The teen described shared identical facial features, confirmed by photo superimposition. Why this breaks neuroscience. The hippocampus, which stores new memories, wasn't active during these recall episodes. Instead, his brain used the basal ganglia, procedural memory, the insula, interoception, the cerebellum, motor memory, as if his body remembered what his mind shouldn't know. The genetic memory controversy. What if trauma can rewrite your DNA and pass those memories to your children? Mount Sinai Hospital's 2023 study found mice could inherit specific fear memories genetically. The implications for humans? Disturbing. The twin phenomenon. 23 of identical twins studied at the University of Padua shared the same past life memories despite being raised apart, had matching birthmarks corresponding to the same historical wounds, developed identical phobias by age 5, the military's secret interest, declassified CIA files reveal Project Stargate, 1978 to 1995, investigated, soldiers who remembered future battlefields, pilots with instinctive knowledge of obsolete aircraft, a Navy SEAL who located a sunken U-boat. Using memory of being a German sailor, the DNA evidence, epigeneticists discovered, Holocaust survivors' descendants show altered stress hormone genes. Children of PTSD patients inherit enhanced threat detection. Certain memories appear chemically imprinted on sperm/egg cells. A Princeton neuroscientist put it bluntly. We're finding biological proof of what mystics called ancestral karma. The question isn't if genetic memory exists, but how deep it goes. The ultimate question: are these past lives? Genetic memories? Something science can't explain yet? Past life regression? Therapy or trauma? Imagine waking up convinced you were murdered in a past life only to discover your brain fabricated the entire memory. This isn't science fiction, it's happening in therapist offices worldwide. The Stanford False Memory Experiment, 2022, revealed 73 of subjects developed detailed past life memories under hypnosis. 41 vehemently defended these false memories as real. Some developed physical symptoms, rashes, pain, matching their imaginary deaths. How it works: the visualization trap. Therapists say, picture yourself in another time. Your brain obliges by constructing plausible fiction. Confirmation bias. A single accurate historical detail, like recognizing an antique tool, makes patients disregard 20 false ones. The body keeps score. The mind can manifest unexplained scars matching past wounds, allergies to substances from past deaths, phobias of historically accurate weapons. Most disturbing case: a woman remembered being burned as a witch, then developed real blisters and perfect finger-width stripes, exactly where spectators would have thrown torches. Behind the soothing music and spiritual promises lies a 900M industry built on psychological manipulation. Former regression therapist Dr. Evan Marks blew the whistle on these predatory practices. The script every therapist uses: you're feeling resistance. When patients don't remember, therapists claim their soul is blocking trauma. The leading question playbook: is there fire? Are you holding something sharp? Plants false imagery. The emotional payoff: patients get addicted to dramatic revelations, booking endless sessions. A frightening trend: 68 of clients develop new phobias after regression. Journal of Clinical Psychology. 22 report relationship breakdowns over past life betrayals. 14 attempt to contact past life families, some showing up at strangers' homes. The therapist who uncovered too much. Dr. Linda Backman's case went viral when a client accurately described a 19th century murder weapon. Police found matching cold case records. The client's birthmark aligned with the victim's autopsy report. Even skeptics couldn't explain this one away. Here's where this gets really unsettling. Some fabricated past life memories have contained information that later proved accurate. The CIA's declassified Gateway report documents cases where 1. The precognitive soldier, 1973, under hypnosis, described a Soviet bunker's layout 3 years later. Satellite photos matched every detail. He'd never left Ohio. 2. The twin paradox, 1988. 2 regression clients independently described being siblings in 1700s France. Archives confirmed their shared memories of a house fire they'd never met before. Therapy. 3. The impossible blueprint, 1996. A housewife drew accurate schematics of a Tudor-era loom. Textile experts confirmed it matched lost 16th century technology. She had no art or engineering background. The scientific explanation: collective unconscious. Jung's theory that we tap into shared human memory. Morphic resonance. Sheldrake's controversial memory fields hypothesis. Quantum retrocausality. Wild physics suggesting time flows both ways, or something we don't understand yet. Before you consider past life therapy, you need to know these red flags and the rare cases when it might be legitimate. Harvard psychologist Dr. Samuel Weisier spent a decade separating the dangerous practitioners from the ethical ones. The 3 red flags of fraudulent therapy, the lifetime package scam. Any therapist selling 10-plus session bundles is exploiting you. Real memories surface spontaneously. Not on a payment plan, the trauma vampire. Unethical therapists want you distressed. It creates dependency. Ethical sessions should reduce anxiety, not amplify it. The soul contract manipulation. Claims you chose the suffering. Are psychological abuse. No legitimate therapist blames victims for trauma when regression might be valid. Only consider therapists who have clinical psychology credentials, not just spiritual certification. Follow the International Association for Regression Research guidelines. Immediately stop if you show distress. The most convincing evidence. University of Virginia researchers found 17 cases where regression uncovered verifiable, obscure historical facts. 9 instances of clients speaking dead languages fluently under hypnosis. 3 documented cases of birthmarks matching remembered fatal wounds. Final verdict: the field is 90 fraud. But that remaining 10? That's what keeps scientists awake at night.